The very person who started these myths said most of us don't have to worry about protein. That's exactly what I said in the comments of the video.
Where do you get your protein from?
Bacon and eggs for breakfast is okay because you got protein that's going to fill you up throughout the day.
Protein.
Concerned about protein, very high in protein, putting a lot of protein-rich ingredients.
Not getting enough overall protein.
In these protein-deficient diets, protein.
I got 84 grams of protein.
Protein.
Vegans need a little more protein because supposedly protein...
Just want to chill on the couch all day and do nothing? Well, then you're gonna need protein.
Wanna take a ride?
I think some people are being taken for a ride here. Welcome to today's epic video smackdown. You may have guessed that this video is about the importance of getting enough protein. Well, you would be wrong. This video is about getting triggered to tell you that Americans are still being tricked into buying too much protein, and it is hurting their health. That man today would be Joseph, from what I've learned, who made that protein video, which leads you to believe in a lot of myths circulating in the low-carb community.
Well, we absorb and utilize certain proteins better than others.
And another thing about that is he's talking about the quality. But that's not actually true if you're eating more than one food, which everyone is. On the other hand, you want to talk about protein utilization. We don't utilize meat protein very well because, number one, it's not the food we're designed for. Number two, it's cooked, so the protein is coagulated, damaged, and can't be even used. And meat is just really hard to digest. It takes resources away from you. Fruit protein goes into your system in about 20 to 30 minutes. Meat takes 3 hours to digest. And Joseph's video triggered a lot of vegans on YouTube, and we're going to take a look at some of their reactions today.
There's a scoring system called DIAS, recognized by the FAO.
Yes, we recognize this. I recognize this stuff from 30 years ago. We're not saying the system is not true.
Plant protein powders like soy or pea are of a lower rank, but are still good quality proteins. However, many plant proteins, for example, rice, lentils, peanuts, almonds, and wheat, are all considered poor.
The fundamental issue with these scoring systems is it doesn't matter if a single food item is low in protein quality based on its digestibility or amino acid score. No. And again, if we look at nitrogen balance studies, guess what? There's no difference in protein requirements for people eating plant-based versus animal-based. We've already looked at that research.
This one's for anyone who thinks my video reaction to that protein video a couple of days ago went on too long.
Yeah, but thanks for the donation, Bunyan Spam. Appreciate it. All right, let's continue. This is going to be a long night.
This is important because the body requires protein for all kinds of things to stay healthy, anything from building bones to making hormones. And
yeah, funny how you say that. Guess what? People who eat a plant-based diet live longer and have lower risk of chronic disease. So what the fuck does that tell you, dumbass?
Data from N. Haynes suggests that 40% of Americans aren't even hitting their minimum protein requirements.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
What the fuck is he talking about?
What? Well, I also thought, what the fuck's he talking about? Except I was a little more triggered. Yes, that's the word they use. Easy Vegan Games wasn't triggered at all. But still, same reactions. What are you talking about? 40% aren't meeting their daily minimum? Well, what happens if you don't? What if Joseph somehow wasn't getting his hourly minimum requirements of oxygen? What would happen to him? I now think I see Joseph's thinking here. He is thinking that the RDA is the exact number you need. Like requirement. No, it's not a requirement. RDA, recommended daily allowance to fit all people. See, he doesn't understand the RDA.
Dear God, that is complete and utter horseshit.
I like to say it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
What I'm assuming this might be from is elderly people suffering from sarcopenia, muscle wasting. Sarcopenic individuals need to have much higher intakes of protein.
I could add to that. A lot of elderly people lose muscle. But why is that? Because they're really old? It's because when people get that old, they usually stop exercising. Sometimes they can't exercise enough.
But the claim that your average fucking human being is walking around protein deficient, you are so full of shit, it's unimaginable.
That's what I kept saying in my video. It's hard to believe that this big channel does so much research, goes through so much effort. The What I've Learned channel is spreading incomplete science from 50 years ago. Everybody in my community knew this was myths 10 years ago. This is over and done with. I had the thought, what would it be like seeing Joseph in a debate about protein or a lot of the diet stuff he does? But it turns out we will never see that, because what I learned is that Joseph does not do debates, and I can see why. A year back, I pointed out Dr. Keto Berg, also doesn't do debates, and one of his supporters said, that's just not his style. Yeah, because his style is to scam people. If he did debates, he would lose. So that's a big debunking of the What I've Learned channel right there. Debates help get you more popular. Spreads the word. But his word is often a lot of bunk.
For me, those 3 centimeters don't mean much, but...
Bigger does not mean better when it comes to health. Oh, look at what just popped up. Can you see that? God, this is amazing. I just got a pop up. There it is. Look. Look who just made a video called What I've Learned Debunked Protein. He's uploading his video as Vegan Gains is doing it live.
Protein quality comes down to amino acids.
I agree with that and most of the things he said in his video.
We don't just need protein, we need all the 9 essential amino acids.
To be more clear, we only need the amino acids. We don't actually use protein directly. It has to be broken down. And meat protein is very complex and takes a lot of work to break it down into the amino acids we actually need. Plant protein is not as complex.
Leucine is a very important amino acid for muscle growth.
Oops, I forgot to move back over to the video after showing that pop-up. What the video's showing right there is Arnold Schwarzenegger, who got a lot of that muscle by using steroids. And Joseph's talking about leucine.
So DIAS scores...
So he's showing Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, isn't this interesting? You just got my live reaction to this. Yeah, 9 amino acids. No comment there. I just thought to make a comment about them showing Arnold there. Why is he showing that? And it looks like Vegan Gains had the same thought as I did.
And suggesting, like, meat'll make you look like this. See if we can find a photo of him.
He's going to show what Joseph looks like. And of course, we all know Joseph's supporters will just say, that has nothing to do with the science. Well, then why is Joseph showing these pictures that has nothing to do with what's being talked about?
So he's a skinny, short, twink manlet. And then he's making a video talking about how
to get huge and jacked.
To discuss this, I'm joined here with Professor of Animal Science and Air Quality Specialist at UC Davis, Dr. Frank Mitlerner.
All right, so fair enough. He enlisted the help of this expert, Professor Mitlerner. So I went to the UC Davis website to see what he's all about, to see if he's an environmental ecologist or something like that. No, he works in the Department of Animal Science. And he's received funding from the animal agriculture businesses, such as the Pork Board and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association.
What an interesting turn of events. I did not see that coming.
And I don't know if you noticed, though, in the bottom right corner, they referred to the study, which I presume that this professor is getting this information from. Both of the study's authors have affiliations with the, once again, meat and dairy industries.
Well, I did see that coming.
If we look at some of the wording from the study here, plant-based rations were associated with greater deficiencies in calcium, protein, vitamin A, and vitamin D. So hopefully you're laughing a little bit like I am. There's this meat industry-funded study here, deficient in protein. Like, what is this, like 1995 or the Joe Rogan Experience? I mean, this is just a complete myth.
It's like last century. That's what I was talking about in my last video. In my last video, I didn't even think I needed to bring any science with me. I shouldn't have to. I was just trying to show people that this doesn't make logical sense. Joseph is taking data about protein from the 70s, right after protein was discovered, but before the amino acid pool was discovered. That is the main problem with his video. But we have the science on our side here, and it's the anti-vegans that are the biased ones now.
I put my blood tests up maybe 5 or 6 times over the past 8 years, never been deficient in protein or calcium.
And there's a fresh crop of anti-vegans out there because the vegan science has gotten into the media for a lot more people to hear. What the anti-vegans have done now is politicized this issue. And these people are trying to say the entire scientific community is pulling a scheme. Now, where have we heard that before? It's just politics. The climate change denial is all politics and it's all money. They don't want the change that would happen. Next up, I found a video of mine from a few years back talking about protein science. I'm going to get into some science and references now. And this book goes extensively into protein, but since a lot of people have some emotional issues with this book, well, I got another book from 1985. So chapter 9 is protein. 20 pages on protein. First sentence, probably the most frequently asked question in the area of diet, health, and weight loss is, where do you get your protein? 1985. Some things never change. The fear of dying in this country doesn't begin to compare with people's fear of not getting enough protein. I totally forgot that I am on camera here. I thought I was just recording some stuff. So you just saw the real me there. I was doing something I never do on video. I was doing my eyeball massages. I got stress in my eyes, man. I have been reporting on this kind of stuff for a long time. Don't we hear that in our community today? A lot of protein worries stem from the 70s book, Diet for a Small Planet. But later on, author Francis Morley said, I went overboard on the precision angle. I was trying to please all the doctors and nutritionists, politics. To be sure, the book was beyond scientific reproach. I think I made people too self-conscious about combining proteins. Be relaxed with it. Most of us don't need to worry about protein anyway. That's from the very author who created all these protein worries. The very person who started these myths. Here's a glimpse of my raw vegan YouTube community back in 2009.
We don't need as much protein as we've been educated to believe we need. Our protein needs are at their highest when we're infants, pretty much when we're first born, because that's when we're growing most rapidly. The most perfect food for a growing infant is mother's milk. Mother's milk is maximum, I think, about 8% protein.
And a lot of the viewers on the What I've Learned video are asking for studies and footnotes. Official guidelines are vague because they recommend between 10 and 35%. Despite the advertising hype of the meat and dairy industries, which are very powerful and rich and influential, and have influenced our society and our science, humans require an extraordinarily low amount of protein in their diets. Many official groups, including the World Health Organization, and a footnote, the U.S. National Academics Institute of Medicine, footnote, and the National Research Council, another footnote, suggest that eating a mere 10% of our total calories as protein is sufficient. The World Health Organization, part number 5.1, protein 10 to 15%, with another footnote. That 15% is considering that these are three big organizations, and so you're going to have a range and it's going to go up, but still that 10%, they're saying that 10% is sufficient. You still might be saying, but that's double of the 5% that's wasted. Right, you don't even need 10. and we're all getting 10. Average fruit is about 7 or 8% protein. On to the next section, which is 10% protein includes a wide safety margin. The organizations that set these guidelines build into their numbers a margin of safety that increases the recommendations substantially, often nearly double. The 1989 RDA for protein is 0.8 grams per kilogram a day. That's the exact number that what I've learned used. And here I am saying that 6 years ago on YouTube. So she's going by the RDA. Doesn't she know better than that? The safety margin is for that 2 or 3% of people who have some kind of condition where they can't absorb protein efficiently, so they need more. So you got to cover that. This is what they don't tell you. See, Joseph has been hanging around in keto circles, anti-vegan. And that's why he hasn't learned this stuff. 10% has been recommended for 50 years, sweetie, to be assured that most people at least get their 5 to 6% requirement. Footnote.
You honestly believe we're not capable of growing things wherever we want? The whole conversation is pointless. We currently...
That was perfect. Here's an eating day of mine that doesn't include any grain, no protein foods. And I do get a low number of 37 grams of protein. Sometimes I get up to 45 grams. And I've been getting this for the last 6 years. See, my timeline is consistent. See, I'm not lying about this. I remember throwing out the last of my protein powder around 2010. And now we get to Durian Ryder's video here, which was uploaded during Vegan Gains' live video about it.
Welcome to the video today. We have what I've learned. Now, this is not a hate video. This is a picture of what I've learned. I think he's about 24, 25, and he's from Texas. He's into weight loss, etc. Now, I wouldn't call the guy obese.
Some people will call that muscle. But there's a difference. Muscle is hard and ripped. Now, who knows how much muscle there is underneath that fat? Now, it does look like he's got a decent bicep. But the fat just makes everything look bigger than it is.
But I've trained thousands of people, all right, and I could get this guy in incredible shape. This guy eats 1 meal a day. He does keto diet.
Is that true? I was just thinking, this guy could have made that protein video in a way that didn't irritate me, but the video seemed to have an agenda. And now we hear the guy is a keto 1 meal a day fool. It all adds up. And that explains why the comments under What I've Learned channel all seem to be a bunch of anti-vegans, because that's what the channel's turned into. I even seen a comment talking about how his channel has changed into that. And his current diet also explains why his previous video was a month back. When you do keto and intermittent fasting, your appetite turns off and you're just not going to eat enough. And you lose energy and motivation. And this is the same guy who made another convincing video claiming you lose motivation for anything else in life when you're addicted to internet PRN. Can't say the word. And I'm proof that one's not true also. I'm 53 and I've got drive out the wazoo for all sorts of stuff. Now, why is that? I would link it to my diet. High life, high raw, high fruit, low protein, low fat. We could call it the high fat diet. You only need so much protein and fat. That stuff wears you down if you get too much. So I guess Joseph's not getting enough calories. That's the reason people lose weight on it. These people are just starving themselves. And that does not last. It fails. They just don't want to eat right because they like meat too much.
This is about protein, and I watched a few minutes of it, and I'm like, man, I am so tripped.
See, there's the reaction again. See, all of us had the similar reaction. What? This is like 95 again. Let's see his reaction here.
I am so triggered right now. I'm so triggered right now.
There's a couple comments under that video saying, I bet the vegans are going to be real triggered by this. And where else do we hear the word triggered? His protein video just seems like he's in a certain circle. Here's another clip here that exemplifies my thinking that I didn't think I need to bring any science.
It's just hilarious. Go and tell this to a horse. Go and just tell this to a cow. Go and tell this to all the vegan athletes out there who are kicking your ass, bro. They don't get enough protein, but they're absolutely kicking your ass, performance, health, fitness-wise. It's embarrassing. This video is embarrassing for you, bro.
So what have we learned here? Well, we've learned that the 60 grams of protein stated in the RDA is about twice what you actually need. Now, on a high lentil diet, that contains 65 grams of protein, 80 if you're a big eater, but your body only needs half of the protein that's in the lentil diet. And isn't it interesting that only half of the protein in lentils is usable? So it looks like nature didn't make any mistakes here after all. On the other hand, no one is eating a lentil-based diet. The body's getting amino acids from other foods which can complement and add to the otherwise unusable amino acids in the lentils. So you're actually getting the 65 grams. From here on out in this video, everyone you'll be seeing eats a high-fruit, low-protein diet. And now I introduce to you Doug Graham, founder of the 80-10-10 diet, which is mostly fruit, low in protein. Lowest protein diet there is. Here he is in a lecture.
But most meats have more fat than protein, yet we still refer to nuts and seeds and animal fare as protein food. Why? Because who wants to refer to them as fat? Enough, according to scientists, is 3 to 9% of total calories consumed. My chart that tells us how much protein are in various foods, what you'll find is that almost all fruits range between 3 to 9%, exactly what is recommended in terms of protein content. And so it becomes a misconception that what you need is more protein.
Hi, Dr. Doug Graham here, just hanging out. I just want to talk to you about 80-10-10, the power of fruit, and unleashing your physical fitness, your mental fitness, your emotional fitness. You want to think clearly, have strength, feel phenomenal, just eat fruit.
And the drums, rain or shine, never stop anyone. I like my bass loudy, loudy, louder, loudy, louder. Everybody on the move, everybody let's move. Everybody on the move, and you don't stop, you don't stop, and you don't quit, you don't quit. Oh yes, 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 yes. Touching down on Mother Earth, I take mud and turn it into pottery. Lottery, I give all a chance as I welcome all to the dance. Angel, criminal, animal, mineral, and spiritual. All sinners, all head spinners, so-called experts, carnivores, and vegetarians. Don't stop, rock, everybody on the move. Everybody let's move. Everybody on the move.